In a world that worships intellectual brilliance, the most influential people aren't the ones with the highest IQs. They're the ones who can read a room in seconds and understand what remains unsaid. Think about it. We frame our walls with degrees, celebrate test scores, and chase after academic credentials, yet we consistently fail to recognize the quiet power that truly moves mountains. Emotional intelligence. Society has always had this backwards. We applaud the person who can solve complex equations, but overlook those who navigate complex emotions. We're impressed by knowledge acquisition but miss the profound impact of genuine human connection. Have you noticed how often the academically brilliant struggle to translate their intelligence into real influence, while those with emotional depth seem to effortlessly inspire and lead? What's fascinating is that this balance is shifting right before our eyes. As automation handles more analytical tasks, what remains uniquely human, our emotional landscape, becomes increasingly valuable. In our hyper-connected yet emotionally complicated world, understanding the unspoken language of feelings isn't just helpful, it's the ultimate competitive advantage. While others fight to be the smartest person in the room, emotional intelligence warriors know that understanding the room itself is where true power lies. Emotional intelligence remains the most misunderstood form of power in our society. It's routinely dismissed as merely being soft, feminine, as if empathy were somehow less valuable than analysis. When was the last time someone framed a certificate celebrating their extraordinary ability to defuse tension or build trust? We don't. Yet these invisible skills often determine who truly succeeds and who merely appears successful on paper. While IQ achievements demand recognition, the diplomas displayed, the titles announced, the accolades shared on LinkedIn profiles, EQ operates in the shadows, silently orchestrating outcomes that others believe happened by chance. Consider how a high IQ leader navigates a heated meeting. They sense the unspoken frustration before it erupts, acknowledge competing interests with a glance, and guide the group toward resolution without anyone noticing the masterful emotional choreography that just took place. This persistent misunderstanding becomes a weapon in disguise. While others underestimate the power of emotional discernment, EQ warriors leverage this blind spot, moving through professional and personal landscapes with an almost supernatural advantage. They read micro-expressions that others miss, sense shifts in energy that escape analytical minds, and influence outcomes through invisible connections. The greatest strength of emotional intelligence is precisely its stealth. It never needs to announce itself or prove its worth through credentials. Unlike analytical intelligence that must constantly demonstrate its value, emotional intelligence simply delivers results that speak for themselves. The difference between a transaction and a true connection lies entirely in emotional terrain. Where most see professional interactions as exchanges to be optimized, EQ warriors recognize the invisible threads of human need woven through every conversation. They don't just hear your words, they sense the weight behind them, the hopes underneath them, and the fears shadowing them. Have you ever been surprised when someone addressed exactly what was troubling you before you even mentioned it? That's the relationship navigation system of emotional intelligence at work. In meetings, while others prepare counter-arguments, the emotional intelligence warrior listens for what isn't being said. The hesitation in a colleague's voice, the slight tension in posture when a particular topic arises. They don't just collect data points about people, they understand people's inner landscapes. This creates a bond that transcends professional credentials could ever inspire. Consider the striking contrast. A high IQ leader might meticulously track team performance metrics while completely missing the undercurrent of burnout, threatening to capsize the entire project. They analyze the relationship data but miss the relationship itself. Meanwhile, the emotionally intelligent leader senses the fatigue before it appears in the numbers and creates space for renewal before productivity ever dips. What makes this ability truly remarkable is its universal application. The same intuitive understanding that strengthens a marriage also builds customer loyalty, nurtures team cohesion, and inspires organizational commitment. Whether navigating a difficult conversation with a teenager, managing a team through uncertainty, or leading an organization through change, those who can read emotional currents move through these waters with a grace that logical analysis alone can never achieve. Behind every spreadsheet and data point lies an ocean of emotional reality that traditional analysis simply cannot capture. Think about the major decisions you've made in life. How many were truly based on logic alone? The most consequential choices we face aren't just about what makes sense on paper, but what resonates at a deeper level. EQ warriors understand this instinctively, tapping into crucial information that exists beyond algorithms and formulas. The real magic happens when emotional intelligence integrates with analytical thinking. It's not about choosing feeling over logic, it's about enriching logic with emotional wisdom. When a business leader senses employee discomfort with a new initiative before satisfaction scores drop, or when a parent detects their child's unspoken worry beneath perfectly normal behavior, these emotional data points become invaluable elements of better decision-making frameworks. Timing is everything, and emotional intelligence is the ultimate timing device. While others make decisions based on fixed schedules or arbitrary deadlines, the emotionally intelligent decision-maker senses the rightness of moments, when hearts are open to change, when resistance has softened, when enthusiasm has peaked. They feel the subtle shift in a negotiation that signals it's time to present the offer, or the almost imperceptible opening that indicates someone is finally ready to listen. Empathy creates an extraordinary decision-making advantage, the ability to genuinely inhabit multiple perspectives simultaneously. Where others see only their viewpoint or artificially try to imagine alternatives, EQ warriors can authentically feel the impact of decisions from various angles. They naturally consider how changes affect different stakeholders, anticipating reactions and consequences that logical analysis alone would miss entirely. In a world where products, services, and strategies grow increasingly similar, the competitive edge belongs to those who factor in the human element. Emotional intelligence transforms good decisions into extraordinary ones by answering not just, will this work, but will this resonate with the people involved? Look around at any organization and you'll notice something curious. The people advancing most rapidly aren't always the most credentialed. Many have seemingly leapfrogged others with more impressive resumes, leaving observers puzzled about their meteoric rise. What's their secret? They've mastered the invisible accelerator of emotional intelligence. They read the unwritten rules, sense the hidden power structures, and understand what truly matters to decision makers beyond what's stated in any job description. While others become entangled in office politics, EQ warriors navigate these complex waters with remarkable dexterity. They don't need to engage in gossip, manipulation, or alliance building because they operate on a different frequency altogether. They sense tensions before they erupt, understand motivations beyond the surface, and find pathways through conflict that others simply cannot see. Have you noticed how certain people can disagree with executives without damaging relationships, or deliver difficult feedback that somehow strengthens connections rather than straining them? The most powerful career advantage comes from the psychological safety that emotionally intelligent leaders naturally create. Where authority-based leaders demand performance through position power, EQ warriors cultivate environments where people feel secure enough to take risks, voice concerns, and bring their full creativity. Consider how differently teams respond to a leader who rules through fear versus one who leads through understanding. The first might achieve compliance, but the second inspires the discretionary effort that transforms good results into exceptional ones. Look at any transformational business leader. From Satya Nadella revitalizing Microsoft's culture to Jacinda Ardern navigating national crises with both strength and compassion, and you'll find emotional intelligence at the core of their approach. These leaders don't just direct, they connect. They don't just decide, they sense. They don't just instruct, they inspire. What's particularly fascinating is how the value of emotional intelligence compounds as you climb organizational ladders. At entry levels, technical skills might dominate importance, but with each promotion, the ability to read rooms, navigate complex stakeholder landscapes, and inspire diverse teams becomes exponentially more critical. The higher you go, the more your success depends not on what you know, but on how well you understand the humans around you. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about knowing how to put yourself back together when life inevitably fractures you. This is where emotional intelligence creates its most profound advantage. While others are blindsided by stress, consumed by setbacks, or derailed by criticism, EQ warriors possess an internal navigation system that guides them through emotional storms with remarkable steadiness. They don't experience less stress. They process it differently. The key distinction lies in relationship to emotion itself. Most people are hijacked by their feelings, becoming their anger, their anxiety, their disappointment. The emotionally intelligent understand that emotions are informative messengers, not identity. They can say, "I'm experiencing frustration," rather than "I am frustrated," creating crucial space between the feeling and their response to it. Have you noticed how certain individuals maintain clarity even when surrounded by chaos? This awareness extends to recognizing emotional patterns before they become entrenched cycles, where others repeatedly fall into the same reactive traps, the same arguments, the same self-sabotage, the same defensive responses. Those with high EQ detect the early warning signals. They sense the familiar tightness in their chest or subtle shift in thinking that precedes their habitual reactions, allowing them to choose different paths forward. While analytical thinkers often approach problems with rigid frameworks that shatter under pressure, emotional intelligence creates agility, the ability to bend without breaking, adapt without abandoning core principles, and find creative pathways through seemingly impossible situations. This flexibility isn't weakness, it's sophisticated strength. The ultimate advantage emerges over time. When others have burned out, given up, or broken down, EQ warriors remain standing, not because they're tougher, but because they've developed regenerative capacity. Their resilience isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about transforming it into wisdom. In moments of conflict, when tensions rise and positions harden, watch what happens when an emotionally intelligent person enters the conversation. While others escalate with facts and counterpoints, they somehow manage to lower the temperature in the room. This isn't coincidence or luck. It's the conflict resolution superpower that comes with high EQ. Where logical arguments often inflame disagreements, emotional understanding dissolves them. The difference lies in what they're listening for. Most people hear only the content of an argument, preparing their rebuttal before the other person has finished speaking. But you, as someone developing emotional intelligence, hear the human beneath the words, the unmet needs, the unacknowledged fears, the desire for recognition that fuels the disagreement. You recognize when someone's anger is actually masking hurt, when stubbornness is protecting vulnerability, or when aggression stems from feeling unheard. This deeper listening transforms negotiations. When you validate someone's emotional experience, I can see why this would feel unfair from your perspective. You're not conceding your position. You're creating the psychological safety necessary for genuine problem solving. Your attunement bypasses defensive barriers that logical arguments can never penetrate. Consider how differently conflicts resolve when approached this way. A team deadlocked over strategy suddenly finds common ground when someone acknowledges the unspoken fears driving opposing positions. A couple moves beyond circular arguments when one partner validates the other's emotional experience before addressing the issue itself. A customer service impasse transforms into partnership when feelings receive as much attention as fact. The true magic of emotional intelligence in conflict isn't just finding solutions, it's creating resolutions where everyone feels genuinely heard and valued. Where traditional approaches often produce winners and losers, your emotional understanding builds outcomes that strengthen relationships rather than damaging them. This isn't just better for harmony, it creates sustainable results that purely logical solutions rarely achieve.